Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Inside Golf. I'm Harry Donahue. The date was February 5th of 1897. That's the date when it all began for the Golf Association of Philadelphia. As a group of members from 4 different clubs in the area, the Belmont Golf Association, known today as Aronimink Golf Club, Murray & Cricket, Philadelphia Country Club, and Philadelphia Cricket, gathered in a Center City office and formed GAP, the Golf Association of Philadelphia. Over the last 125 years, GAP has grown from 4 clubs to more than 330 member clubs, and from a few hundred members to more than 90,000, and it's spread out across the tri-state area of Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Today on Inside Golf, we welcome a group that are current stewards of GAP, and they've also played major roles in GAP's proud legacy. It's a celebration, a 125-year anniversary of GAP, and it's coming up next on a special edition of Inside Golf. The 25th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf. Your next golf getaway is in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Visit montcogolf.com. By the First Tee Greater Philadelphia. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, a community of professionals enhancing the game of golf since 1925. Make sure you thank your golf course superintendent today. By GAP, celebrating 125 years of amateur golf. By Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine, a digital publication and private business network. Read the current issue free at jerseymanmagazine.com. By the Haverford Trust Company. For life's must-haves, there's Haverford. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA Section, the experts in the game and business of golf.
Golf is the great equalizer. For many, this journey is an escape from reality, a chance to be part of a team, a career opportunity. PGA Reach impacts lives through golf by lifting people up, giving them hope, and sending them down an alternate path that they never saw coming. With PGA Reach Philadelphia, as in life and in golf, the most important shot you take is the next one.
Welcome back to Inside Golf. We are at Aronimink. This is special edition show number 2 for Inside Golf to commemorate the 125th anniversary of the oldest golf association in America. That would be the Golf Association of Philadelphia. Our panel today assembled here on the deck overlooking this beautiful venue, and that panel includes the current president, Oscar Mestre, the executive director of GAP, where he has held that title now for some 22 years, Mark Peterson, past president of the association, Quinn Spitzer, and the Hall of Famer, Jay Sigel. Gentlemen, let's pick up from the show we did, number 1, to commemorate this anniversary. Biggest difference, Oscar, of GAP today as opposed to, well, when you first became involved?
Well, we're playing completely different equipment, that's for sure, right? That's number 1. My involvement goes back to the mid-'70s, so 50 years, I guess, of some, or on nearly 50 years. And the size of the organization, right? I mean, the organization, both in population that we cover and in staff that we need to cover, is grown dramatically. Credit the people who started us, all those that came before. This has been a long project, and a lot of people are to be thanked for 125 years of GAP.
Mark, I mentioned you've been the executive director 22 years. Prior to that, you worked for GAP as an intern while you were in college, and you've seen your growth. It's really taken off exponentially just in the last few years in terms of member clubs and also region. Now you're in the state of Delaware. Thousands of golfers, 90,000 golfers in one association. They're just some of the differences that you've actually had firsthand experience in, and really inside, I guess, planning and actually execution to try to get it there.
Well, and it's been an honor, but it's been a lot of fun to be involved in the growth, not only in the growth of member clubs and the growth of total number of golfers and the growth of our events. You know, some of the new services or opportunities, think of member play days, right? An opportunity to just enjoy one of the best venues in all of America just for fun, right? It's not a competition. I think of opportunities like youth on course or player development. So that's some of the growth. You know, the other growth though is it really starts back with the team matches, right? When you have almost 400 teams now, 12 players per team on 3 Sundays, that's a lot of golf rounds just for one event. So like I said, it's been an honor. It's a lot of fun, and we've got more opportunity ahead of us.
Something else had happened that was different in the mid-90s, 96 I think it was, and you were an intern at the time at Gap. And Bill Walsh, Ray Cross, I think, were the two main drivers of this.
Correct.
And that is opening up membership to Gap to non-private clubs, public courses, in other words, or resort-style courses. Was that shall we say, a difficult decision to make, or how did it come about?
Well, I mean, any time you have major change, right, there's conversation. It could be viewed as challenging. Right now, we view it as one of the greatest moves we've made in our history. I recall the stories about the roadshow, right? They broke up the executive committee into teams and traveled around to different regions to talk about why this was going to be a great thing. Now, fast forward to today, over half of our member clubs are public facilities. You know, in Delaware alone, 46% of the clubs there are public. You know, 30% of our rounds as of today being posted are posted by public players. So it's a great opportunity for us to incorporate another type of golfer, and we're going to see that thrive.
I think I saw a stat that last year 70%, Quinn, of the rounds of golf played in this country were played on non-private courses, either resort courses, munis, daily fee courses of some kind. That's an amazing stat that surprised me. I'm sure it surprises you as well.
Well, it also says a lot about the growth of the game. The game is so popular, and when a game gets popular, one of the best places to look is the places where everybody has access. And we're seeing more and more public golfers entering into competitions. A lot of those public golfers are joining private clubs, but the game has never been healthier. And if you don't have public golf, the game doesn't grow the way that it has been.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, growing the game. And like I said, 70%, Oscar, of rounds played at, public courses, resort type courses. There's a lot of people out there that don't have the luxury of belonging to a private club. And the Golf Association met the challenge. Actually, you guys were ahead of the curve when it came to recognizing how the game could be grown in those locations.
Well, and it's so important for us to grow the game, right? I mean, we need to introduce new players to the game. That's always been a focus of ours and mine since I've been on the executive committee. COVID and the pandemic hit, and I mean, numbers went through the roof, but not many people remember 3.5 years ago, golf was nowhere near as healthy as it is today. And so our goal now is, to capture that swarm of new players that have been introduced to the game. We need to keep them around to keep the game healthy, and that starts with juniors and women and public golfers. I mean, those are all areas we're focusing on, and want to do a better job of engaging them and keeping them in the game.
Coming up after our break, we'll take a look at sort of a short list. It's a long list, really, of great players over the past 125 years, members of Gap. We'll be back with our special 125th anniversary tribute to Gap here on Inside Golf.
Do you think this Valley Forge vacation was your idea? We've been controlling us the whole time. This racing game is great, but nothing beats the real thing.
That sloth you think I love so much gets me a free trip to the zoo.
They don't know they're hungry yet, but I do. I'm starving!
Charlie, Charlie! Works every time.
Just wait until you see what I plan for the next trip. Visit Valley Forge, where kids make the rules.
The oldest state or regional golf association in the country hits a milestone this year. Gap celebrates its 125th birthday.
Celebrating amateur golf since 1897, GAP has evolved to include 300-plus member clubs, more than 90,000 individual members. It offers events for males and females of all ages and ability levels. GAP continues to uphold its mission to preserve, protect, and promote the game of golf. Happy birthday, GAP.
Welcome back. Beautiful setting here at Aronimink at Newtown Square. This is our second special edition of Inside Golf to commemorate, honor the past and the future of the Golf Association of Philadelphia. On this, its 125th year. That is amazing. The oldest golf association in America. We had some thoughts on great players. We talked about that earlier in the show. You know, Jay, of course, is a member of the Gap Hall of Fame, but, you know, going way back, you know, Jay Woodplatt, Bill Hyman, Gordon Brewer. Let's get our panel to talk about maybe some of those great players, maybe not so great players, who maybe they would enjoy playing with if they had the chance today. Oscar, I'm going to lead off with you.
Well, you know, I've been fortunate enough to play with Jay, play with Gordon, play with you know, Chip Lutz and Buddy Marucci. I mean, you know,
sure.
I mean, I have padded their stats for years.
You're a transitional
Okay.
guy, a generational transitional
So
guy.
I've padded their stats. So having already had the pleasure of watching that, I would go with gentlemen that I never really got to spend much time with, didn't know. I'd love to have played with Big Bill Hyman at his prime, Jay Woodplatt, Max Marston. I just think of those names and their records and what they did in golf and what they did in Gap, and I'd love the opportunity to play with them.
Quinn, I know you have a special soft spot for Buddy Marucci, right?
Oh.
Would he be part of your foursome?
Oh, for sure. I mean, obviously, he's a great player. He's a really great friend. Probably the best bunker player I've ever played with. Didn't have the privilege of playing with somebody as great as Jay, but he's really a terrific guy, and I've enjoyed playing with him. He has some great history when we think about the U.S. Amateur, where he took Tiger to the very end, winning the U.S. Senior Amateur in 2008. He's a great player, great friend, so I wouldn't have any group of 4 people which wouldn't include Buddy.
Okay, Mark, I don't know, how much do you actually get to play with you know, the membership that you serve as executive director? And if you do, who would be in your foursome?
Well, I do get plenty of opportunities to play. Fortunate to play in the team matches all the time. I might go in a different direction. I know you can talk about competitive players, but I would go certainly with Jay Woodplatt, but not necessarily because of his skill in the game, but rather I'd love to talk to him about how the Platt Scholarship has evolved and where it's headed into the future. I would pick an individual like Robert W. Leslie, who is the longest serving president of GAP, and what he's done. Obviously, when you have an event called the Leslie Cup, that's you know, from 1905, that's a pretty big deal. And then I would pick a golf course architect. That would be a tough one, right? Whether it's George or Tom Fazio or a modern individual like Gil Hance, for the purpose of saying, hey, how are you designing, or how would you design a golf course now to encourage more people to play golf, right? We can focus on how hard the game is, but so many people struggle with how hard the game is, including myself.
Right,
So I think that would be the group.
Right.
I've already been beaten by some of the, you know, the modern, soon-to-be, you know, eventual Hall of Famers plenty of times. I don't need to do that again.
I hear you. Speaking of Hall of Famers, your dream foursome or foursomes?
Well,
I can't imagine what that list is like.
Woody Platt, for sure, maybe at the head of the list. I can still see him, long sleeve white shirt, bow tie or a regular tie, great golf swing, bald head. He always wore a cap.
Nothing against bald heads, right?
No.
Jay? Okay.
The Pine Valley story of Woody Platt is terrific.
Tell the Pine Valley story. It was a
Well,
legendary round that never ended.
Yeah, I want to get it correct, but I think he started out
It's
birdie,
a fable, but we'll see.
birdie, hole in one, birdie, 3-3, 1-3, and instead of playing the 5th hole up the hill, he was smart. He
par 3.
headed to the bar, and
Never to emerge.
never to emerge. So Woody Platt would be my first. Bill Hyman would be second, and Bill. never. I don't think there was anyone that worked any harder on his game than Bill.
How about Gordon Brewer? Where does he fit in that?
He's the toughest of all of them, those three, and I want him for my partner.
Yeah.
So Gordon's a special individual. We had a heck of a match a few years back, and that was probably the most difficult match I ever played in.
Why was that?
Well, he's been a great friend. He's someone we all should look up to every day. Very kind, very generous. A Bobby Jones Award winner, which was well deserved. Great family, just a great guy, and it was tough for me. I was, I guess, the favorite, and he was supposed to have outputted me, and I was supposed to have out-hit him. It didn't work either way. I made some putts, and I was very fortunate to end up with a victory. But anyway, that's my force.
All right, our thoughts on great players of the past. We're with some great players of the present right now as we continue our special edition and 125th anniversary of GAP here on Inside Golf. Back with more from Aronimink in just a moment.
On the way out.
Good start.
And the guys are just looking at it. They'd give you one of those, just go.
Yeah.
Just go. And that was the start of our Scottsdale guys trip.
Welcome back. Inside Golf now continues with Teed Off, and our panel today is once again assembled on the back deck. We're outside here at Lulu. Perfect conditions for golf or to talk about the game of golf like we're doing here on Teed Off. More information about Lulu, memberships, etc., go to their website. It is lulucc.com. Remember at Lulu now for I don't know how many years, but every time we show up here to do Teed Off, he's with us. I'm talking about Jim Sullivan.
Thanks for having me.
Sully, always
Welcome.
a pleasure. Making another relatively new appearance here on Teed Off is Jeff Moore, also known as Moose, and he is with Swing It and Ding It, the podcast. Your numbers are going up, I'm sure. You have some great shows once a week. You can find it, the website. Give us some info.
Social media or just anywhere you listen to your podcast, Swing It and Ding It. I'm just filling in for Harry Mays, really. That's all I do.
Well, you got small shoes to fill. Only kidding, Harry, only kidding. And Matt Fry from the Philadelphia section, PGA. He is Director of Communications. Sully, let's begin with you on this topic of most embarrassing thing or things, maybe if you want to make it plural, that have happened to you on a golf course.
Well, definitely not as bad as what John just described to me as his worst, and I've never fallen in a bunker like Matt Flannery. But about 20 years ago, when I was playing mini tours and trying to figure out if I could make a living playing golf, I Monday qualified into the tour event that was at Waynesboro. So it's in my hometown. I'm feeling like $1 million, right? I'm, happy, proud, the whole thing. And I go to the range on Wednesday. And if you remember the guy that Tiger Woods beat in the Canadian Open when he hit that fairway bunker shot over the lake, his name was Grant Waite. So this is the high point of Grant Waite's golf life until he ends up 2 spots down from me on the driving range. And on my second shot with a sand wedge, trying to hit a 50-yard shot, just like a warm, your second shot of the day, I didn't see it happen. I heard about it afterwards, but I apparently took a divot about this big that floated 20 feet over and landed on Grant's hat, brand new white hat and shirt, smearing with, just a big, I couldn't have felt smaller, Harry. In nothing I've ever done in my life I've hit terrible shots, played terrible rounds.
What do you say to him?
I got out of there as fast as I could.
Really?
Are you kidding me? I didn't say a word. Unbelievable.
He probably doesn't know you're the guy.
I ran into his caddy a year later and asked him if he was there, and he said, yeah, I was there. And I said, I felt so stupid. He said, Grant's as laid back as it could be. He couldn't care at all. So credit to him, but I got out of there as fast as I could.
How about it, Jeff?
I got to say, I was playing Blue Heron. There was a big group of us, all kind of backed up on the third hole, and I hit a driver, and it just goes way left from the start and stays left. And all the neighbors happened to be out, and I smoked the garage door as hard as you could hit it, and the noise was deafening.
No windows, though?
No, but like everyone's looking, and I drove right over and accepted my my
Did
role.
they ask you to sign the ball?
No, but I had to work on that. And then we went back next year, and there was a huge net that went down the left-hand side, so I feel like I at least helped the course.
You cost somebody some money.
The other one is secondhand embarrassment. We go to Mirabelle in Scottsdale, private course. We have no business playing this course to begin with. We get there, we're rushing. Day we land, my friend Tony Camerata, we hop in the carts. They're nice enough to set us all up, take off, and he just sideswipes one of the golf carts right on the way out.
Good start.
And the guys are just looking, and they'd give you one of those, just go.
Yeah.
Just go. And that was the start of our Scottsdale guys trip.
How about that? You haven't been back since, I guess?
No, neither place. No, not allowed.
Right. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I was interning. I went to Eastern Kentucky University's PGA Golf Management Program. I was interning in the Poconos, actually, at Lake Naomi Club. They have a 9-hole Timber Trails golf course there. And I was driving around the golf course during one of our junior days. Kid hits a ball off a tee. He didn't yell for. I got it right here, right under my eye. I mean, I was very lucky. I
knocked down the whole deal?
I was in a cart, but yeah, I was bloody. So I was going in the golf shop, and of course, kids were freaking out because I had blood all over me, which isn't great. But the funny part is, later that week, I actually got to go play Bethpage Black, which is like an hour and a half from Timber Trails. And I looked like I was trying to be like 50 Cent or somebody because I had a little Band-Aid underneath my eye. And it was just this little white kid going to play golf. So.
Wow.
Looked
How
tough.
about
I like
that?
it.
Yeah.
I had an embarrassing moment at Philly Cricket. First hole at Philly Cricket, and the tee markers there are like cue balls. They were. And we weren't playing the forward tees, we were playing the members' tees, but the forward tee was like maybe 15 feet, 20 feet in front of where we were. And there's some guys up there having lunch, and I'm with a good friend, Phil Gilligan, and my turn to hit, square up and hit the ball, grounder, but on the fly hit the forward tee marker, and it's like this big, okay? It's literally a cue ball, right back into my chest.
Oh my gosh.
That's a penalty, right?
Yeah.
I mean, according to the rules.
Moral
right?
and actual.
What is it? I'm hitting 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, from the tee.
Yeah.
And that first hole for me was enough of a challenge because my buddy Gilligan says, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're hitting 3." I'm like,
take
come on,
long.
Phil. I didn't get a breakfast ball.
Yeah.
I didn't get a lunch
With
ball.
everyone having lunch, pretending like they don't see what's going
And
on.
everybody's up there like, who is this guy? But hey, it happens. Stuff happens. Anytime you get out there, you never know. Some are worse than others. Thank you, fellas. We'll be back. More of Inside Golf in a moment. Designed by Donald Ross, Lulu Country Club is one of the premier private golf courses in Montgomery County. This classic 18-hole course boasts a new state-of-the-art clubhouse with many amenities for members to enjoy. Members are invited to play in events, tournaments, and enjoy guest privileges. For more information, contact membership at lulucc.com.
While most drivers spend their lives going from point A to B, in America, we're all about point X. That's why our most versatile BMW X-Range vehicles are proudly manufactured right here in Spartanburg, South Carolina. The BMW X-Range, your next X-Venture, starts here.
Visit your local BMW center today for attractive lease and finance offers.
The oldest state or regional golf association in the country hits a milestone this year. GAP celebrates its 125th birthday. Celebrating amateur golf since 1897, GAP has evolved to include 300-plus member clubs, more than 90,000 individual members. It offers events for males and females of all ages and ability levels. GAP continues to uphold its mission to preserve, protect, and promote the game of golf. Happy birthday, GAP.
Welcome back to Inside Golf as we wrap up our show number 2, special edition of Inside Golf, commemorating the 125th anniversary of the Golf Association of Philadelphia. It is the oldest golf association, regional state in the country. And we've had our panel here talking about their dream foursomes, who they'd like to play to, a great litany of tremendous players in GAP's 125-year history. We appreciate your stories. Always a pleasure. One of my favorite Jay Sigel stories, by the way, and it doesn't have too much to do with GAP, but you told me this one time before. The first time you met Arnold Palmer was out at Latrobe. Your dad arranged for you to go out there. You were a teenager, to have Deacon Palmer give you a lesson. And Deacon said, go out there and hit some balls. I'll be right out. Then what happened?
Well, Arnold, obviously, he was on the right side of the range, and he arranged. I mean, he arrived probably at 7 o'clock. I showed up at 8 and started to hit a few balls. I'm so nervous that just the two of us on the range, I shanked the first 3 or 4, almost took his head off. He'd turn around and look at me like, "What are you doing, kid?"
Something to the effect of, "You're supposed to hit it that way"?
That's correct. That's
How about
correct.
that? So you could have taken out Arnold Palmer there in a couple minutes.
Almost did.
Huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Would you have notched that up as one of your, no, not one of your
No.
bigger wins?
No, I wouldn't have.
No. But then, of course, Wake Forest and the whole thing.
First Arnold Palmer
Great
scholarship.
friendship. Yeah, that's a great story. Jay, Quinn, Mark, Oscar, thank you. We'll be back. We're going to do this again. A third special edition of Inside Golf. You know, the Philadelphia Golf Charity is the J. Wood Platt Caddy Scholarship Trust. It's been around since 1958, $24 million in scholarships, 3,500 awardees. We'll talk about that with our panel and a lot more. Gap at 125. Hard to believe, folks. We'll talk about it in another special edition of Inside Golf. I'm Harry Donahue. Remember, no matter how bad it's going for you out there, think of all those Gap players that never gave up or picked up over 125 years. See you next time on Inside Golf.
The 25th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf. Your next golf getaway is in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Visit montcogolf.com. By the First Tee Greater Philadelphia. The First Tee not only helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit firstteephiladelphia.org. By the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, a community of professionals enhancing the game of golf since 1925. Make sure you thank your golf course superintendent today. By Gap, celebrating 125 years of amateur golf. By Jersey Man and Philly Man Magazine, a digital publication and private business network. Read the current issue free at jerseymanmagazine.com. By the Haverford Trust Company. For life's must-haves, there's Haverford. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia PGA Section, the experts in the game and business of golf.